the Board of Direct Entry Midwifery meeting is convening at 12:04 p.m. on April 11th, 2025. This meeting is being held in person and through my MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. I will now call roll. Meredith Mance, here. Lennon Clark.
Here.
Rebecca Fisher.
Here.
Meredith Klein.
Here.
Christy Morales.
Here.
Lynette Pettibone. Misha Ronick. Okay. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Board members are asked to not use the chat feature during meetings. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through MS Teams keep their phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until they are given an opportunity to comment during the public and interested parties feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Public members wishing to speak, please sign in on the roster sheet available in the room or email Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business. All right. So first up is approval of the agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion?
This is Meredith Klein. I move to approve the agenda.
Right. And does anyone have a second?
This is Christine. I second.
All right. A motion has been made and seconded. I will now call for a vote. Meredith Mance, aye. Lennon Clark.
Aye.
Rebecca Fisher.
Aye.
Meredith Klein.
Aye.
Christy Morales.
Aye.
And I believe Lynette Pettibone is absent. Misha Ronick. Also absent. All right. The motion passes. The agenda is approved. So now we will move on to item number 3, which is executive session. Bear with me, I'm juggling some scripts here. Okay. The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602F, ORS 192.3559A, and ORS 40.225 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 12:07 p.m. on April 11, 2025. Representatives of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive session. Audience members attending through MS Teams will now be moved into a separate breakout room, and audience members attending in person are asked to leave the room both for the duration of executive session. Those authorized to attend executive session, please continue to keep your phone muted and camera off. Are there any representatives of the news media on MS Teams? Recognizing there is no news media in attendance, the public will be moved into a separate breakout room for the duration of the executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. Do we have a time estimate?
5 minutes.
Okay, it is estimated that the board will return to public session at, we'll call it 12:12 p.m. Please be aware that it is possible that the board's executive session may last longer than 12:12 p.m. If the public has any questions about whether the board is still in executive session, then the public can contact Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov. All right. All right, the Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now exit executive session and reconvene open session at 12:16 p.m. No final decisions were made and no votes were taken in executive session. The public will be moved from the breakout room back into the meeting, and representatives of the media may once again report on all board discussions and actions. All right, so we also want to let the record reflect that Lynette Pettibone joined at 12:09 p.m. and that Misha Ronick is present as well. And then we can move on to number 5. On the agenda, so the Board of Direct Entry and Midwifery will now leave the public meeting pursuant to ORS 192.6901B to deliberate on a contested case at 12:17 p.m. on April 11th, 2025. The deliberation will not be recorded and no final decisions will be made. Do we have a time estimate for this one?
I would say at least 20 minutes.
Okay, we will say that we are estimated to return at 12:35 p.m. Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now reconvene open session at 12:46 p.m. No final decisions were made and no votes were taken. The public will be moved back from the breakout room and representatives of the media may once again report all board discussions and actions. And that brings us to number 7. Do we have any motions?
Yes, hi, this is Lynette Pettibone, and I make a motion in case number 22-10423 and 21-10277. I'd like to move that we decline the settlement offers of both 3-6 and 321, that we amend the notice per the board's direction, and we delegate to the chair or other authorized representative to sign or approve the final written terms of the agreement.
A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
This is Rebecca Fisher and I second it.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded. I will now call for a vote. Meredith Mance, aye. Lennon Clark,
Aye.
Rebecca Fisher,
Aye.
Meredith Klein,
Aye.
Christine Morales,
Aye.
Lynette Pettibone,
Aye.
Misha Runick.
Aye.
The motion passes. All right, so next on our agenda is executive session, but we did want to pose a conversation about scheduling since this meeting was scheduled to be an hour, and wanted to open it up to the group of whether we would like to do that last agenda item now or if we'd like to defer it to the next meeting, which is scheduled for next Thursday, the 17th.
This is Lynette, and I prefer we defer.
Okay.
I propose we defer.
I am comfortable with either. Does anyone feel strongly in either direction? Anyone else? Okay, I'm not hearing any strong opinions. So if we are comfortable with deferring that to our next meeting, then I think that is totally appropriate since we'll be meeting again in a week. In which case we are able to jump ahead on our agenda to the closure of the meeting, unless anyone has anything else they would like to bring up or discuss at this moment.
This is Trampus, regulatory manager, and I just wanted to make sure that we kind of disseminated the information for executive session in a little bit of a different way this time. I just want to make sure that everybody was happy with that way. I've actually already have a folder for next week's meeting, and I've already started to put things in it. I don't know if people have noticed. So, and I'm hoping to use this method moving forward. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was solid on it. If you have any problems or questions about it, you can contact me directly, or Josh. He uses it a lot too, or Chris. Well, I don't know if Chrissy uses it, but I know that myself or Josh are probably good resources if you're having any issues with it. I'll probably just be sending out an email saying, "Hey, there's a new folder." I won't, no, we don't have to make any new passwords or new accounts. You'll just be able to go in there and I'll share folders with you as we go along. So just want to make sure everybody's good with it. If they have questions, to feel free to get a hold of me, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Thanks, Travis. I'm personally really liking the new system. I feel like it's been nice to be able to read ahead a little bit on what's going next week. So I appreciate that. And I really like that we're adding things to it as we go.
And it is, believe me, it is so much easier on our end as well. So.
Great.
Trip, this is Misha. I haven't looked at the one for next meeting. It worked great in terms of accessing the documents for me for this meeting. I think as long as the only other request I didn't, and maybe you've already done this, but just for the agenda, any confidential items that we're going to be discussing, like which cases and what we're going to be deciding about them, would be helpful as a piece that I know has been a part of some meetings in the past, instead of just the generic agenda that's public.
Yeah, and that I'm going to try to do, especially when we have more, or have, we'll try to do that whenever especially when we have a little bit more complicated, where it's not super straightforward. Like, what is this information for? Why do we have it? Sometimes it's just kind of sitting there and you don't have any idea. Well, what am I supposed to do with this? So yeah, that's something a tool we'll be using probably a little more moving forward. So for sure. So
thanks.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone have anything else they would like to discuss for this meeting? Okay. In that case, the Board of Direct Entry Midwifery meeting is adjourned at at 12:52 p.m. on Friday, April the 11th. I will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.